Guys, I hope you guys are doing well. Today it is Thursday, August 20th. I hope that your Flipgrid poem submission went well yesterday. I cannot wait to see those, and I'm excited to see you guys read your poems. Today, like I said, is Thursday, so you should have already looked at your task list and completed your writing bell ringer like usual. And you should be watching this video. Fantastic, you are, obviously. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about really quick. So we're going to do a couple things in this video today. So be patient with me. The first thing that we're going to do in this video is we're going to talk about annotating. And you guys probably are familiar with annotating, but it's been a while. So I want to start by starting off talking about it in a very simple way and going over what annotating is and how you're going to do it via distance learning. Annotating, as you guys already know, is a way of interacting with and writing on a text. So we'll talk about what annotating is a little bit. And then the next thing I'm going to do is to show you what annotating looks like on a piece of paper. Specifically, though, a digital piece of paper from, or basically a page from the novel that you're going to be reading from today. So, and then the third thing we're going to be talking about are the assignments that you have related to annotating today. Okay, so let's start off with number one. Let's talk about what annotating is. So I have some notes that I'm going to show you guys. So let's go over to this screen right here. So we're going to talk about how to annotate. Annotation, like I already said, is writing on a text and talking about. Annotation is more about. Annotation is when you write on a text or highlight things on a text to help you understand and close read a text more accurately and to do it in a way that will help you remember and understand it better. So there are a lot of different ways that you can annotate. Let's go over some ways that you can. So one of the things you can do is examine a title of a poem or a chapter. You can highlight the title of this thing and then add a note about a question you might have about the title. So if you saw a title of a poem, you could highlight it and say, why does this title matter? What is it about this title of this poem that is important? That would be an example of a way you could annotate a title of a poem. Another thing you could do is if you notice that the speaker of a passage or poem is speaking in first or second person, you could highlight that or put a star by that and say they're speaking in first person. So I know that the person speaking in this poem is the person who's writing it as well. You could do something like that. You could look for imagery or figurative language, so things that are symbolic, different literary devices, and you could circle those so you can remember, so you can circle them and notice them again when you go back to reread the page. And knowing those and noticing those literary devices and figurative language will help you analyze the more complicated parts of different texts. Then if you have questions when you're annotating and you don't understand, you can underline those words or circle them, and you can put a question mark by those things. If you see something that's confusing, you can write a question mark on it. Another thing you can do is if you see something that's surprising or you're shocked to see, you could put an exclamation point. And another thing you can do is if you're working with an article on a piece of paper, you could, if you notice the mentioning of one thing near the beginning, and then you notice that same thing mentioned again, you could draw an arrow between those two things that repeat to make a connection in the text. Basically, annotating is just interacting and writing on a text so that you can notice the important things about it. Here are a couple other things that you can do. If an author provides an example, you can write the words EX as a shortened version of the word example. If there are multiple paragraphs, you can number those paragraphs so you can remember what parts and what ideas are in each paragraph. And if you see something funny, you can write LOL by it. Okay, so that's an overview of annotation. Let's do a few examples, okay? So today you're going to be reading pages 1 through 28 of The Crossover by Kwame Alexander. And this novel is a really fun novel about a brother, two twins, their experiences going through middle school and basketball and their family. So this is one of the very first poems. Oh, and another wonderful thing about this book that's so fun is that it's all written in verse, which means that everything in the book is a poem. So it's very fun to read, very easy to read, and it's something that I think you guys are going to really enjoy. So let's look at this poem right here. So this poem is called Josh Bell. And if you read the back of the book, you notice that that's one of our characters' names. So I'm going to put a nice exclamation point by Josh Bell and circle it and say, okay, so I know that this is one of the characters, and I'm going to say, draw an arrow and put a star there so I remember that that means that that's important, and that is probably what the poem is about. So the poem is probably about Josh Bell because the title of the poem is Josh Bell, Josh Bell's name. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay, and then I haven't even started reading the poem yet, so we've already got a couple annotations there. So it says, Josh Bell is my name. Oh, look at that. Look who was right. Miss Van. Josh Bell is my name, but Filthy McNasty is my claim to fame. Folks call me that because my game's acclaimed. Game's acclaimed. Ooh, I'm not sure what acclaimed means, so I'm going to circle acclaimed, and then I'm going to put a question mark by it and say, I'm not too sure what acclaimed means. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look it up. So let's say acclaimed. I can spell, there we go, acclaimed. So let's look up the definition. Acclaimed means praised enthusiastically and publicly. So that means that his basketball skills are incredibly good. So his game, his basketball game, is really, really impressive, and everyone praises him for it. So let's keep reading. So downright dirty, it'll put you to shame. My hair is long, my height's tall. See, I'm the next Kevin Durant, LeBron, and Chris Paul. Remember the greats? My dad likes to gloat. I balled with Magic and the GOAT. Ooh, the GOAT. Let's circle that one. I think that is a reference, and so is Magic, to different basketball players. I bet you guys know a little bit about this, but if you don't, you can put a question mark there and say, I'm not sure who they are. If you don't know, though, that's okay. There are a lot of different annotations you could do when you're reading, but I want you to come up with those on your own. Those are a few examples, and I'm sure you guys can look at this list. I'm going to post these notes here so you guys can see them in Canvas and keep going. The last thing I want to go over with you is how you're going to turn in your annotations. So you, for your assignment, are going to complete 5 annotations. You can do more if you want, but a minimum of 5 annotations of your reading that you're going to read today that's uploaded on Canvas. So let me go over an example of that with you, okay? So how you're going to do it is you're going to number your, you're going to upload these on Canvas, not on this website, but you're going to number the number that you're doing. So let's say this is my first annotation, and I already read the passages, and I'm going to write it out and the quote that I want to reference when I'm annotating. So as I have here on my example, it says, but Filthy McNasty is my claim to fame. So that's my quote right here. And then I'm going to find the page number that came from. And you can find your page number up at the top right here. Okay, so page number 10 out of 28. Filthy McNasty is my claim to fame. So that's where I got my quote. Got it from page 10. So I'm going to put it in quotes. Filthy McNasty is my claim to fame. Then I'm going to put the page number, and I'm going to say PG for page, period, 10, or whatever page you got it from. And then you're going to make a little arrow by doing the hyphen button and the caret button. And you do those 3 together, and it turns into an arrow. And then you're going to add your comment or your annotation. So that can be something like a comment of your own. You can say, I think this nickname is funny. I think it sounds weird. You could say something like that. Or if you were confused by that, you could just put a question mark there. You can do whatever you think makes sense with that. So keep in mind the different types of annotations that you can do, and then also make sure you submit your annotations in this format in Canvas. So under this right here, under Thursday, you're going to go upload those annotations right where it says upload your the crossover annotations. All right, let me know if you have any questions. You can email me or you can post in our little discussion question group. Okay, good luck.